Surah Al-Furqan verse 63 says, "The true servants of God the Most Gracious are those who walk on the earth in humility, and when the ignorant address them, reply with words of peace." Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. This is An Nur the Light. Verily, the words of the glorious Quran carry significance and meaning, often far deeper, which allows us to reflect, but also acts as a guidance as to how we approach life. Would you buy your meat from a pharmacist? That answer is the focus of today's first story.
Riaz Ahmed has been around butchers all his life. As a young boy growing up, his dad trained him in all spheres of the business. And when his father passed on, it was left up to Riaz to take over the family business.
I was studying pharmacy and my late dad and mom never put any pressure on me to get involved in the family business. I completed my degree, I was busy doing my master's, when unfortunately my father passed away. I was placed in such a crossroads. I had to make a decision whether to continue with my pharmacy career or get involved in the family business. Growing up with the family business, you somehow are involved, whether it's on weekends or after university.
The butcher has been popular with the Muslim community for over 30 years. What started out as a small shop has grown into an empire, firstly under his parents and lately under the guidance of Riaz.
The foundations that were laid by my parents is fundamental to the success of the business. My parents believed in very simple principles, and those are the principles that myself and my sisters have tried to implement in the business, and it's really kept us in good stead. Barakah and rizq, which is blessings and rewards and sustenance, comes from the Almighty. And I think, we must be very humble if you have any success in your business. It's very important that you look after your staff. Our customers are very important to us. I mean, we're very lucky to have generational shoppers at our store, whether it's grandparents and parents and their kids and even grandkids shopping by us.
The saying, "No man is an island," rings true for Riaz, as he believes he is only as good as the team he works with. As this is also a family business, he is supported by his sisters, who he credits as the true brains behind the operation.
The family comes first, not just for us, but for our staff members as well. I think, it's critical that whatever we do, we spend our day working hard, and we're doing it for the benefit of our families at home. And to recognize that, it's important. I'm very lucky that I've got an amazing support structure. My sisters are, they run the business with me. We're a great team together. But our extended family, I've got cousins and uncles, etc. That keeps a person grounded, And I think this whole structure that we've got for ourselves and for our staff, has just attributed to the success of the business.
Riaz, however, wasn't always going to run the family business, as he enrolled for a pharmaceutical degree. While still a student, he joined the Pharmaceutical Society and over the years moved up the ranks to become the Western Cape chairperson.
He sort of shadowed me as my vice chairman when I was chairman of the branch. He was in fact mentored by me during that time, so that it was no problem when I stepped down as chairman. It was natural that he would take over as chairman. And he distinguished himself at branch level, and of course the national body saw his ability, and so much so that he fitted in perfectly as a national treasurer. It was shortly after that he was awarded fellowship of the Pharmaceutical Society of South Africa. I would actually describe Riaz in 3 words: selfless, in that he gives of himself to others; responsible, his dedication to family, because anybody who gives up a really lucrative career, especially after 5 years of intensive study in order to run a family business, takes somebody of real character and dedication.
Riaz's mum, Sharifa, was stalwart of community service, and she passed this on to her son. Today he sits on the board of Red Cross Children's Hospital, as well as the Hospital Welfare Education Fund and also the Factoryton Mosque Committee.
Well, my involvement at Red Cross Hospital actually started in 1999. I was very fortunate to be appointed one of the interns at the time. I was the only male pharmacist amongst 9 female pharmacists. At the end of my internship, I was offered a position at the hospital, which I gladly took. I'm still part of the Hospital Facilities Board. It's basically a committee of people volunteering to serve. We sit in a committee with the doctors, the nurses, the people on the ground. They explain to us what they are doing at the hospital. We then try to provide alternatives or try to provide avenues that will assist them in improving the running of the hospital. Community involvement, it's another big thing. Not just giving donations, I mean that's very important, but actually getting involved and getting your hands dirty, giving some of your time. My late mother and father were phenomenal at that, where they were such a great example to us as children. For us to understand the importance of getting involved in the community.
Albert Einstein said, "Try not to become a man of success, but rather a man of value." The words aptly describe Riaz Ahmed, who lives this every day of his life.
So there you have it. You can buy your meat from a pharmacist after all. It's good to see how our brothers and sisters can not only live their dreams, but also step up when called upon. Next up is our street style segment.
Fashion is what you wear and do, and it portrays your personality. For me, it is colourful, being comfortable, easy to wear clothing. Being a busy mom, I'm always in my tackies. I'm such a sneaker junkie.
Style for me it's the thing that gets you through the day. It's the perception people have of you. It's the way you feel about yourself. It's the person you want to be.
Style for me is dressing in an Islamic way with comfortable, stylish clothing which can be worn from day to night. All I have to do is change into heels and wear a piece of chunky jewelry, then the same outfit becomes an evening outfit.
I've got a unique kind of style. I'm very colourful, I'm bold, also very modest. I try to pursue hijab every day, which covering the whole body with the exception of the hands and the face. So if you think about taking your kids off to school, I'm in hijab. Going camping, I'm in hijab. At the beach, in hijab. Hijab referring to a full modest covering of dress.
My style is a mixture of very modern, contemporary pieces. I get lots of influences from the big high fashion brands. Don't really appeal to the African market as yet.
It's appropriate, it's closed. I mean, tackies you can change and wear with anything that you would want to. So I would guess the tacky looks very, how can I say, hip and cool with the outfit that I have on.
Today I'm wearing my legendary red dress and I've teamed it up with a wool blend knitted khamisa. It's a long cardi, but I've renamed it. My scarf is always pinned to the front, covering my neck, and I've accessorized it with some feathers.
It's basically double layering shirts. It's just for the beginning of winter. And I also like sticking to a basic color palette, which is the blues, the light blues, and I love my leather boots, which are very conducive for winter in Cape Town.
I have a coral blues on dress with a pair of beige tights underneath with my Chuck Taylors. I have the pashmina, coloring pashmina that breaks it with my jewelry, cream and coral jewelry that breaks the whole outfit. This blends in with my outfit. The one blends in. The pearls and the gold, you can say it goes with anything that you would wear.
Hijab doesn't have limitations because with everything we can be creative and stylish and trendy as well. Colourful and bright and bold and express ourselves within the limitations of hijab and Islam.
You have to wear the proper, appropriate Islamic clothes to cover yourself. I mean, you can still be fashionable, but you wear the same clothing that covers you, and I mean, you still look properly attired as a Muslim woman.
Brothers and sisters be doing it for Islam like no other. I just love the colors, combinations, and general style they are displaying. It is definitely one of my favorite segments. Our show is filled with interesting, yet sometimes controversial topics, and today is one of those days.
In recent times, divorce rate has been on the increase, and the Muslim community is no exception to the growing number of couples divorcing. With the increase, it is important to understand that it cannot be taken lightly. As Allah states, the lawful thing which Allah hates most is divorce.
Well, the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam speaks about that from all the permissible things, divorce is regarded as the most despicable. So obviously the conditions under which this permissible that is frowned upon is allowed has to be serious. There has to be a total breakdown in the communication, in the relationship, where husband and wife both realize that living together will just cause themselves a lot of heartache, a lot of pain. There is no love, there is no harmony. Where there are children, sometimes the children suffer because the parents are altercating. So it has to be something that is serious.
The magnitude of one's decision to divorce their partner is one that cannot be taken lightly, and it is therefore of utmost importance to abide by the Islamic law and procedure set out in the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. One organization that assists couples in coping with their marital problems is the Islamic Care Line Center. By seeking external assistance, it offers the possibility of identifying and solving their problems.
Okay, the Islamic Care Line is a voluntary counseling service. And when couples approach the office for problems that they are experiencing in their marriage, then the Care Line would use various interventions in terms of basic counselings. We use a person-centered approach, so we would deal with the couple separately as two individuals because both of them may be experiencing the problem differently. And we have counsellors who are trained to be able to identify the issues in the marriage and then counsel them as a couple as well in order for them to understand the issues they're going through and to be able to resolve them as best they can.
Despite the seemingly patriarchal nature of the Islamic religion, Allah is all-knowing, most majestic, understanding and loving by nature. He has made it possible for both a man and a female to initiate a divorce. When divorce is initiated by the wife, it is known as khulu. The reasons are vital in addressing Allah's understanding, for the Nabi stated, if any woman asks for a divorce from her husband without any specific reason, she will not smell the fragrance of paradise.
A woman is allowed, and it's very important to know that not to take advantage of this that we are given in Islam, where you are allowed to ask for a divorce, but in an instance where you're not winning and you have the right to ask for that divorce, then khula is where you say to your husband, look, I want you to give me a divorce. If he doesn't agree, then you say to him, okay, well, if you want to, I'll give you so much, or I'll give you this possession of mine or that possession of mine. If he agrees after that, then the divorce will fall and you'll obviously have to sit in iddat and the procedure carries on.
After a divorce has been finalized, Islam states that a period of time must pass before a woman is able to marry again. The Holy Quran states that the divorced woman shall wait concerning themselves for 3 months.
When it comes to divorce and the rights of women, I think that more than a man, a woman has the advantage here in a case of divorce, in a sense that she gets the privilege of sitting in iddat, whereas a man doesn't. Okay, and I'm saying a privilege because that is almost as though your period to connect with your Creator. It is your period where you get over what has happened to you. We don't need psychologists, we don't need counsel, we don't need all of that because we have that iddat period to bond with our Creator. So I see that as a right for women, and I see that many people misconstrue the issue because they don't really understand the hikmat and the wisdom behind us sitting in iddat.
Once all talaqs have been issued and the couple has completed their divorce procedure, with the divorce being accepted in the eyes of Allah, there are obligations that fall into both the male and female party, with all future interactions between them no longer being permissible.
The first avenue where they can reconcile, as I had mentioned, is within the iddah period. Say it hasn't happened then. She goes to her home, he is on his own. After a few weeks, a few months, they realize that perhaps they made a mistake. Now they want to reconcile. What is required now is that a new nikah will have to be performed. But when that new nikah is performed, and he has given her 1 talaq previously, it means that now that 1 talaq is still binding on this year.
Understanding and completing the divorce procedure as Allah has prescribed should be seen as the only way forward. For the Quran has made provisions for all the hardships and struggles that we may encounter in this life.
Our social media platforms are really a source of pride for us. It is here that you get to interact with us directly, and we'd like to give a special shout out to Brother Moideen Hussein, who most probably has never missed a Facebook post of ours. We really appreciate your support. Eid al-Fitr is around the corner, and Lamiz was in Johannesburg to find the perfect dish, but with a twist.
As the spiritual month of Ramadan draws to a close, I'm sure you're all thinking about what you're going to make for your Eid tables. We've been blessed to meet with Riaz Ahmed, MasterChef contender, affectionately known as Ozzy, and he's going to be showing us his take on roast leg of lamb. Ozzy, thank you so much for having us in your kitchen.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Tell me about your food journey.
I was in boarding school or Darul Uloom in Zakaria Park 2 in Hughes.
Okay.
We started cooking in our rooms, in our dorm rooms, and it was a lot of fusion. We had a lot of different cultures. We had Malaysians, we had Singaporean friends, and it affected the way I cooked. It gave me this new fusion way of cooking, bringing my recipes from home.
And would you describe that as your style of cooking, fusion
Yes,
food?
most definitely. I cook a lot of food and plate it with French technique and modern twist to it, but the flavors are simple and Indian home flavors that we are used to.
What are you going to be showing us today?
I'm going to show you my twist today on a leg of lamb, which is a deboned butterflied leg of lamb, which is stuffed with the spinach and feta and roasted pepper juice, which I'll be serving with a Mediterranean-style couscous, grilled vegetables, and a beetroot and raspberry balsamic reduction salad. We'll begin with some fresh coriander, which will be going with my couscous. I've got a sour cream and spring onion dressing for my couscous.
Have you made this dressing?
Yes, I have. It's a basic dressing. It has some cream, it has some lemon juice, spring onion, sour cream. And then we've got our stuffing for our leg of lamb, which is just some spinach and feta, which I fried off with some garlic, salt and pepper. And these are roasted pepper juice, which we'll cut in strips and layer in our lamb. And then this is the couscous, just with some dried herbs. And I've preferred to season my couscous before I actually add the water so that the flavor disperses through the couscous evenly, instead of flavoring afterwards and then overworking it and it becoming gluey and
So water
starchy.
becomes a good medium to
Yes,
sort of...
yes. And then we've got some fresh thyme, rosemary, garlic, which I use to marinate my leg of lamb, including the fresh mint from my garden. And then we've got some fresh spring onion, which I'll be using to garnish my beetroot salad.
Yeah.
I've got a balsamic and raspberry reduction for my beetroot salad. And then I've got some string in water so that I can tie my leg of lamb. And then some creme fraiche to make my dressing and sauce, mint sauce for my leg of lamb. This is the leg of lamb that I've marinated earlier, since it takes some time to penetrate.
So what did you put on the lamb?
I've marinated it with some thyme, rosemary, mint, garlic. So you just chop all the above together, or you can blitz it up in your
our famous Magic Mix,
as we would say. Season with some salt and pepper.
So how long have you marinated your lamb for?
This has been marinating for the past 12 hours.
Okay, so the longer the better.
The longer the better, and also it helps break down the meat, the muscle tissue, it makes it more tender.
So 12 hours has passed, that's been marinated really well. What do we need to do next?
So, to many of you at home, this might not be very recognizable as a leg of lamb, which is butterflied. If you close it up like this, and you wrap it, you can see you get the shape of the leg of lamb. So you slit it down the center, open it up, and then you're going to be sitting with big muscle tissues. Then we're going to start with our roasted peppers. As much as flavor as this contributes, the appearance, it's all about the appearance as well. I like the feta in the spinach because it gives a certain saltiness, makes the spinach creamy, and stuff the entire shape in the center. Also trying to give yourself some play on either side. Tuck this in, and then we're just going to roll it over. Okay.
I noticed that your twine is wet.
Yes, this prevents it from burning and breaking once.
Disintegrating when it cooks.
When it actually cooks. Keeping my leg of lamb down, I'm going to go as close to the edge as possible, but also I don't want to go too far.
Because it might slip off.
Yes. And all you're going to do now is go around it, underneath your string.
Okay.
Usually your butcher would do this for you, since they have more skill working with different cuts of meat, especially, it's a very technical job.
Yeah. So now that your lamb's all tied up, are you going to seal this off in a pan, or what is the cooking process?
I think that the roasting gives it enough of a char on the outside, so there's no real reason to sear it off.
And what heat would you roast this at?
I'm going to roast this. My oven is preheated to 180 degrees. It's a fairly moderate temperature. It's not too high, not too low. 2 hours would be fall apart, tender, but not as moist as your 1.5 hour would be.
Okay, so we're going with the 1.5 hours. That's going to go in the oven. Your lamb is smelling really, really good.
Thank you.
What are we going to do? I see that you've got everything ready and plated up. Your couscous salad.
Yes. As you can see, a lot of the twine is loosened up a bit. And like I was telling you earlier, to check with your meat, if you can be able to tear your meat like that, that's well done, and it's almost fall apart tender, but it's still holding its shape so that you'll be able to carve it. Aha, there we go.
Okay. She's finally free.
Finally. And always use a serrated knife. If you use a flat knife, it just hacks through the meat, and you've got like a saw-in motion going through here.
Oh, that does look very pretty.
That's not fair. We still have quite a few hours to go for iftar and then the wait for Eid. But that lamb looked absolutely yummy. I know you'll be asking for the recipe almost immediately, but it will be posted on Monday. We're playing out with a song, so that's it from me, Maria Mukwanda. Salang Hantle, Assalamu alaikum.
Allah loves me, Allah loves you, Allah loves righteous deeds. Left, right or wrong, I've made my choice. صراطا مستقيم. الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله. In times of need, in times of strength, my Lord sets my heart free. I'm at peace when my fellow Muslim is there for me. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, 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 Alhamdulillah.